Well, here I am, y'all. It's Mikey, back in the beautiful town of Bloomfield, Indiana, on a November 1st evening. It's pretty around here today. Not quite as cold as it was last time I was here, but you can tell winter's on the way. Here we are at the Bloomfield County Courthouse. No, excuse me, Greene County Courthouse in Bloomfield, Indiana. And I just wanted to share with you guys a little thing that I've been studying in Genesis that the Lord showed me today. And it's pretty amazing. Abraham, which is the father of the nation of Israel, and started the lineage that came down to Christ, which of course came to earth and as God's son to be sacrificed, to be the sacrifice that allowed all of us to enter the kingdom. Abraham was a pretty important guy in the world, and God really loved Abraham because he had faith and believed. And when God told him something, Abraham believed it. But Abraham wasn't a perfect person, and Abraham wasn't someone who was always so incredibly faithful. He made mistakes. And that was encouraging to me when I heard about some of those mistakes, because it's like, you know, I may make mistakes, but God doesn't. And God is going to be faithful despite the mistakes that I make. For example, Abraham, you know, a couple times when he was going into an area where a king, you know, had rule over the land or whatever, he told his wife to act like his sister. And that way he thought they wouldn't kill him. Well, you know, the Lord didn't appreciate that, and the king who took Abraham's wife didn't appreciate that either. And ultimately he got his wife back and he was allowed to pass. Well, you know, he did that on more than one occasion. He did it again in another instance in the Bible, where he made the mistake of saying, hey, you know, Sarah, act like you're my sister so that they won't kill me. You know, he was afraid that God wouldn't take care of him. And so he had to manufacture a solution. Just like one time, you know, God told him that he was going to have a son. And, you know, his wife was 85 years old, I think, when God told him that. And he's like, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. But, you know, then his wife and Abraham started trying to manufacture a solution. So she had a servant, I think her name was Hagar. And she's like, hey man, Abraham, sleep with Hagar, you can have a son. And he did, and the son's name was Lot. No, wait, I'm wrong on that. Ishmael. Sorry about that. I'm not a biblical scholar. But at the same time, that wasn't God's solution. You know, Abraham tried to invent a solution that wasn't God's thing. And so God was still faithful and still allowed Sarah to have a son, Isaac, when she was in advanced age, where it appeared impossible. And so therefore, you know, despite the fact that Abraham's making mistakes a lot, God is still faithful. And God still allowed Abraham to be the father of the great nation of Israel, despite some of the mistakes that he made. And Abraham had faith in God. And his faith kind of went up and down sometimes. Sometimes he made mistakes. Sometimes he did some bad things. But ultimately, God was faithful, and God allowed Abraham to be the father of the nation of Israel. So just a word of encouragement to you out there that you don't have to be perfect. You know, just work on your faith. Learn how to trust God in every situation. Do what you can to follow the Holy Spirit. And occasionally you're going to make a mistake. It's okay. All right, guys. See you later.